So it's only been about 3 months since I've done my last 2024 horror movie, Still to Come, but there have been so many announcements and trailers that have been released that I had to do another one ASAP just so you don't miss anything and you can like add them to your schedule from now until December. I will kind of skip over or just briefly mention the ones that I've already covered in previous videos because I just feel like it's getting a little bit repetitive. So make sure to check out that other video if you want any more information on those movies. There are so many movies to cover in this video. I might go through them kind of quickly, so get your pen and paper ready, your notes app ready. And I usually like to eat a little something before I film just so I'm not starving. So let's go do that together because this video is sponsored by CookUnity. So let's go. CookUnity is the first chef-to-consumer platform that delivers freshly prepared meals straight to your door every single week. And I love that they're prepared in regional micro kitchens instead of warehouse production facilities. CookUnity also has such a diverse group of chefs. So today I'm going to be going with the Greek-style chicken Euro pita wrap by Chef Cedric Nicholas. Having prepared meals like this that I can just heat and eat is so helpful, especially because right now I'm going to be entering my busy season, all while still raising a toddler, of course. So convenience in my day-to-day is key. Now we're just going to add the tzatziki sauce. I'm so excited. This smells so good. I'm going to add all of it because I like a lot of tzatziki on my Euro. This is such a good size too. Oh my gosh. That tzatziki tastes so fresh and such a nice contrast with the meat. Oh my gosh. So obviously the food tastes great as well. Some of the other meals that I've had from CookUnity that are my favorites so far are the chicken ropa vieja tamales by Chef Jose Garces. Oh my gosh. Those were unbelievable. And then for a vegetarian option, I went with the penne alla vodka by Chef John DeLucci. Highly recommend. So good. I mean, you can't go wrong with pasta, right? I gotta take another bite. I picked like the messiest one to eat on camera, so that's great. CookUnity also has a bunch of different dietary preference filters, which is awesome, like vegan, paleo, gluten-free. The subscription is also super flexible, so you can pause or skip weeks or cancel at any time. So make sure you go to cookunity.com/horror50 or click the link in my description box down below and use my code horror50 to get 50% off your first order with CookUnity. That's such a good deal, and you can try it out for yourself. Now I'm gonna finish my Euro and we're gonna get back to the video. So the first release I want to talk about that is coming out is, when is it? It's in this week. It's coming out this week. And that is Afraid with AI capitalized in the title, coming out on August 30th. Now this is a Blumhouse PG-13 movie, so I am not excited about it, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think it's going to have a little bit of a higher budget than previous Blumhouse movies this year, you know, back in the beginning of the year in January. It does have the same plot as the Disney movie Smart House from 1999. I haven't seen that either, but that is just what I've heard. This follows Curtis and his family who are selected to test a revolutionary new device, a digital assistant called AIA that takes smart homes to the next level. As it begins to learn everyone's behavior and anticipate their needs, it soon makes sure nothing and no one gets in the family's way. Overprotective AI, we have seen this done before. We have this, we have the Megan Soulmate movie coming out soon, and then we have that weird Megan Fox AI situation movie. I don't know. These aren't my kind of movies. I know that's a subgenre that really works for some people. I love tech horror, don't get me wrong, but it's like early 2000s tech. This kind of tech horror is not my thing. Like AI tech, it's not my thing. It was originally titled They Listen, but was renamed to Afraid. I think They Listen is better, personally, because Afraid with the AI is just a little bit on the nose. It is from the director Chris Weitz, who directed Twilight New Moon. So if you're a New Moon fan, he's directing this one too. What a weird catalog he's going to have with New Moon and Afraid. Next up, we have The Front Room coming out on September 6th. Now this stars Brandy. I was originally excited about this, I'm not gonna lie, but I am just nervous because it is another religious horror, and I enjoy religious horrors, but I just think they are saturating the genre right now, especially with theater releases, and reasonable expectations when it comes to this movie. I will say I freaked out a little bit when she tells the mother-in-law the name of the daughter that she's carrying in her belly is Fern. My jaw. And then the mother-in-law's response is, what, you got a plant growing in there? iconic. I love it. My daughter's name is Fern, in case you missed that. But yeah, that blew me away. The fact that their daughter's name is Fern might make it a little bit more personal to me. Just like with Longlegs, my daughter was born on December 14th. What is this? Anyway, everything goes to hell for newly pregnant Belinda after her mother-in-law moves in and tries to get her claws on the child. I will say we have a couple motherhood, postpartum, mothering movies coming out this year. I don't know what this focus is on motherhood all of a sudden, but again, feels very personal. Feels very personal. Now, this is based on a short story from 2016 by Susan Hill, who also wrote the Woman in Black novel, which I highly recommend for fall and spooky time if you want a book recommendation. And the brothers of Robert Eggers, Max and Sam, are doing this movie. They're writing and directing this movie, which I find really interesting. So we're gonna see if the Eggers name continues to be kind of successful. Next up, we have a movie that I don't think a lot of horror people are going to be talking about because it's technically not, I mean, it's an action thriller. It's called Rebel Ridge, and this also comes out on September 6th, but it will be direct to streaming on Netflix. And the reason why I'm excited about it and telling you about it is because it's directed by Jeremy Saulnier, who's one of my favorite directors. He directed Green Room and Blue Ruin. So I'm excited to see what he does with this. I mean, he kind of usually does like action-y type movies. That is definitely his style. So I kind of expect that I'll love this. I don't know. In the town of Shelby Springs, Terry Richmond has come to post bail for his cousin, but his savings are unjustly seized by a corrupt local police force. Terry unearths a widespread conspiracy within Shelby Springs and uses his particular set of skills to get the bail money back by any means necessary. Now, this was actually postponed due to COVID, so it was originally set to film in 2020, and then it was delayed again because John Boyega was meant to play the lead in this movie, and he dropped out. There's some rumors around why he actually dropped out. They say that he was dissatisfied with the script and his accommodations, but he denies these rumors, so I'm not really sure what is true. But because it had to be recast, it took even more time, so now it is finally being released on Netflix. I'm personally excited about it. I don't know. It's not really... Action movies aren't really my thing, but because it's Jeremy Saulnier and it seems like there could be some horror elements, I want to see it. September 13th, we have Speak No Evil. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anything about it. You've seen the trailers 100 million times. You know it's coming. I don't need to talk about it. Okay, next we have a movie I am very excited about called The Substance. I think I've mentioned it to you before in the past, but there wasn't as much information or trailers out for it, but this comes out September 20th. Elizabeth Sparkle, renowned for an aerobics show, faces a devastating blow on her 50th birthday as her boss fires her. Amid her distress, a laboratory offers her a substance which promises to transform her into an enhanced version of herself. This is a horror, sci-fi, like body horror situation, a very Black Mirror, except it's not really technology, it's like a substance she's injecting, so very interesting, but it looks fantastic. It looks like fun. Kind of Cronenberg-esque, but I don't think it's going to be. If you're a fan of Revenge, it's directed by the same woman, Coralie Fargier. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And I think the cast looks really great because Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley look like they could be mother and daughter. So I think the point is that Margaret Qualley plays the like updated version of Demi Moore and like the younger, better version. So I think it looks really interesting. Next, we have an independent movie coming out on September 20th called Bagman. This one's definitely on my radar. It looks really weird, and I'm all for a weird independent horror movie. It will be rated PG-13, and it's directed by Cole McCarthy, who directed The Girl with All the Gifts. When a sinister threat from his childhood returns to haunt him, a father desperately struggles against his deeper inner fear, only this time the fight isn't for himself, it's for his family. Sounds like familial, kind of feels like stuff we've seen before, kind of, you know, it feels like a familiar story to me. Next up, we have a South Korean horror movie, which you could just say less right there and I'm gonna watch it. It's called Sleep, and this is going to have a limited release in the US on September 27th. How well do you really know the person sleeping next to you? For one young couple, this question becomes a twisted psychological nightmare when a husband's increasingly bizarre nighttime behavior takes a menacing turn. This is described as a dark comedy horror, so I've been really open-minded with the dark comedies lately this year, so I'm fingers crossed it continues. I continue to enjoy them because, you know, I am excited for this. It's from South Korea, which is one of my favorite countries when it comes to horror movies. Now, again, this is another one where it is a pregnant wife, and I believe it's dealing with postpartum as well. So I think at some point she gives birth in this. Hopefully that's not traumatic, because we've seen enough of that this year. And then he becomes a threat to them. So again, why are we doing this? There's so many motherhood movies coming out this year. I don't know if that's going to be the primary focus or the horror elements or anything, but okay, Never Let Go comes out September 27th. I've already covered this, or, you know, now there's trailers out for it. When I first talked about it, there weren't any. Halle Berry thriller movie. It looks just like the movie Tethered that I watched a couple years ago, where this family has to stay tethered to their home base. Seems post-apocalyptic or possibly dystopian. Next, we have a movie called Azrael, which also comes out September 27th. Years after the apocalypse, a devout cult of mute zealots hunts down Azrael, a young woman who escaped her own imprisonment. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic action horror starring Samara Weaving, and I believe it's in a world where nobody speaks or nobody can speak or something, and I think she can, and so they're trying to hunt her down. It is a Shudder movie and an IFC movie, so it is going to have a theatrical release, but I imagine it'll be streaming on Shudder shortly after that. Surprisingly, I've never mentioned Apartment 7A, which is the Rosemary's Baby prequel coming out on Paramount Plus on September 27th as well. Busy day. We're gonna be busy that day. You know, we had The First Omen this year, which is, of course, the prequel to The Omen, religious prequel. Now we're getting Rosemary's Baby, having a prequel of Apartment 7A, religious prequel. It's very, could they not have come out in different years? I don't know. So in New York City in 1965, what happened in the apartment before Rosemary moved in? A struggling dancer finds herself drawn into dark forces by a peculiar couple promising her fame. Going to be demonic, going to be religious, obviously. I'm not too thrilled about it. I'll watch it. But I feel very neutral about this one. The next one I am actually very excited for is called Hold Your Breath. I haven't really seen anyone really talk about it. It is more of a psychological thriller than true horror movie from what I understand. It stars Sarah Paulson and is set in the 1930s Oklahoma, where a young mother is haunted by the past that becomes convinced that a mysterious presence in dust storms is threatening her family and takes extraordinary measures to protect them. It sounds a little bit, not apocalyptic necessarily, but like with severe dust storms and then she's convinced there's like an entity in them. That sounds so cool. That premise is so cool. I love the time period of 1930s. That's really creative and original. So I'm really excited about this one. And next we have another VHS movie. I report that there's another VHS movie every single year. And again, I said this on a TikTok, but I have a love-hate relationship with VHS. I'm not gonna lie, because every year I end up watching it, and it's like every other year I enjoy it. It keeps me coming back, you know, and I always get excited for the theme every single time. This year it is VHS Beyond, which will come out on Shudder on October 4th. And this will be 6 tapes that are all horror sci-fi, which is why I'm excited, because you could do so much with horror sci-fi. I feel like we're getting some good sci-fi stuff this year, so I have high hopes for some of these shorts. Kate Siegel is going to be directing Stowaway, which is written by her husband, Mike Flanagan. It's her directorial debut, which is one of the reasons why I'm very excited, especially for Stowaway, the short in it. Justin Long and his brother have written and directed a short in this, but it is the 7th VHS movie. So I just feel like, how many are we gonna do? I watch them every time, but it's like, they all can't be good. Okay, and the next one is a movie I don't know whether to be excited about or not, because I loved the first one so much, but do we need another one? Like, I don't know. I just hope they do something different, because the ending of the first one is just so weird and mind-boggling that they just can't do that again, so I don't know what they're gonna do. And that is The Platform 2. We're getting another platform movie. Also coming out on Netflix on October 4th, and this is going to be a sequel to the Spanish original, which of course is a large tower-style vertical self-management center prison. The dozens of floors house 2 occupants per floor, and then there is a free-floating platform that descends down, holding all of their food for all of them. Now, the first one is really interesting because it became so popular. It became one of Netflix's top original movies, like ever, because it came out March 2020. So we were all on lockdown in March 2020. Everyone watched it. I think everyone watched it. So of course they decided to do a sequel, or at least a second one, back in 2020, and they had announced that, I believe. And so now it's finally coming out. Again, what are we doing different with it? It's got to be unique and original, right? Can't just be a regurgitation of the original, because the original is really good. I love it. Terrifier 3, October 11th. You know this by now. Everyone knows about Terrifier coming out, right? There is an update though. I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. Yeah, I originally said I was not going to. I've heard it's the most disturbing that they've ever done. How can it top Terrifier 2? I don't know. And I'm really scared. Smile 2, October 18th. Again, we're probably all well aware and anticipating this movie as well. There is a movie coming out on October 25th called Your Monster, starring Melissa Barrera. This is going to be a romantic, dark comedy. Right? It's like a horror comedy romance movie. Probably a little bit like Lisa Frankenstein, I imagine, like in tone. After her life falls apart, soft-spoken actress Laura Franco finds her voice again when she meets a terrifying yet weirdly charming monster living in her closet. It's a film about falling in love with your inner rage. Now, I'm going to be optimistic. Romance and comedy movies mixed with horror, not my typical favorite genre or subgenre of horror, but I have enjoyed all of those that have come out this year. Lisa Frankenstein, Love Lies Bleeding, you know, kind of romantic horror. But this definitely feels lighter, but we'll see. I don't have any expectations. I'm just gonna stay optimistic and have an open mind about it. We're finally going to be getting Salem's Lot. I almost even don't want to say anything about it because at this point, who cares? I'm just kidding. Some of you definitely care about it. I'll watch it. You know, it's a Stephen King adaptation. I'll watch it. Never read the book that it's based on, but this is finally going to be coming out on some random day in October. I don't know what day, but it will come out allegedly in October on Max. It's had years of delays for whatever reason. Even Stephen King has no idea why they've delayed it so long. Next up, we have our next A24 horror movie. I'm very excited about it. It's called Heretic, coming out November 15th. So this follows two young missionaries who become ensnared in a deadly game of cat and mouse when they knock on the door of the diabolical Mr. Reed. Trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive. Now, this is directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who of course did A Quiet Place, and I'm a little concerned. Again, I'm very excited about it. Don't get me wrong, but I am a little concerned because it's yet another religious horror. Could it be? Do you think it's going to be like a religious horror in the supernatural sense, or do you think it's going to be very grounded and then they are just religious? Either way, I'm excited. A24 has been popping out some really good horror movies, although they got competition now with Neon, right? Neon has released some really good horror movies lately. Okay, we're almost done with all the releases. Are you keeping up? Are you keeping track? Okay, next up we have Night Bitch, which comes out December 6th. Now, this is based on a very popular book that I believe got popular because of Book Talk. This follows an artist who pauses her career to be a stay-at-home mom who seeks a new chapter in her life and encounters just that when her nightly routine takes a surreal turn and her maternal instincts begin to manifest in canine form. This is a mom who believes that she's turning into a dog. So I'm interested. Sign me up. But again, it's another motherhood movie, another motherhood horror movie. So it makes me a little scared. Like, what? I'm hoping it's pretty neutral with the children and they aren't really involved and it's just the mom kind of losing it a little bit. I don't know. Do you think it's like a werewolf movie? I've never read the book, so I don't really know what this is about. But do you think it's like, oh, she turns into a werewolf because it's canine, dog? Or do you think it's like a literal dog? I don't know. Now, this was originally going to just be released directly to Hulu, but because it had such a positive reception at early screenings, it will have a wide theatrical release, which is exciting. I like when movies can do that. And then lastly, Nosferatu coming out on Christmas Day. We know this already. I think we're all anticipating it. It's going to be Robert Eggers directing. Great cast. I've already covered it multiple times since it's been announced, so we're all excited. I think we're gonna round out the year with a bang. Okay, well, that is everything that I know of as of right now. I'm sure there's a bunch that I'm going to be missing, especially by the time this video goes up. There could be 5 more announcements by then. Who knows? Let me know which one of these movies you're most anticipating, or if there's any that have now been added to your radar, and make sure to check out Cook Unity, link in the description. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.